Welcome to Comic and Screen. My name is Sam Otten, and with me is Jason Book. And in this video, we're going to talk about the future of the DCEU, also known as the Justice League Universe, from Warner Brothers Pictures. So we know that we're getting Justice League this November, and then we know we're getting Aquaman next year in December of 2018, and they are currently filming that in Australia. So excited about those two movies, but what we want to really do is actually look beyond Aquaman to what is the DCEU slate going to be like after Aquaman, and we know some things, we don't know other things. We don't want to actually run down all the facts and figures that you might be able to find online about who's working on what script and who the director is lined up to be or whatever. What we want to actually just talk about is the characters and the growth of the universe and what we're kind of excited to see or what we're maybe concerned about or not as interested in seeing. Does that sound good, Jason?
Sounds great.
All right, so coming after Aquaman, we have some movies that are pretty, far along in pre-development, and so that's where we're going to start. Here are the movies that we kind of know the most about and that are probably coming up next after Aquaman. We've got Gotham City Sirens, David Ayer and Margot Robbie working on that together after Suicide Squad. We've also got a Suicide Squad 2 that's going to be happening in some form, possibly a Deadshot spinoff, but that one's not as confirmed. But we definitely have the Batman coming from Matt Reeves. And then we have Batgirl that Joss Whedon said is his bag, and he's really looking forward to working on that. And then we also have this Flash movie that has, had some directors that have switched out, but it's still sitting there waiting to kind of get the green light to go into production. So there's some 5 movies. What are your thoughts on those ones? What do you think might come out, and what are you looking forward to the most?
Well, out of all those, the Flash one to me, as I said before, really needs to kind of get going, because I think the show was really good, and the glimpses I've seen of him in the trailers and stuff, and hopefully in Justice League, will just steal the show. So I really want them to get going with it and have a Flash movie that's really its own thing. As far as Gotham City Sirens goes, I'm not really crazy looking forward to that because I think that they kind of did a lot of that already, starting in Suicide Squad, and I'd kind of like them to take a step back with that and concentrate on the Batman movie, which has a lot of potential. And to me, I heard that they're going to make it more noir style, like a detective movie. So if they focus on that style, it'll really kind of separate itself from the Nolan movies, as I've said before. And that's definitely a good thing. And then Suicide Squad 2, wasn't the hugest fan of the first one. So if they're going to do something really different with it and make it kind of, really challenging and change up that formula from the first movie, then I'm excited to see more of that.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see Suicide Squad 2 just because I think that the characters have even more potential than what was shown in that first movie. So that's kind of why I would like to see that one come around, just to that it could kind of take it to those new heights. I agree with you, though, that I'm really excited for the Batman. Matt Reeves is a good director from what I've seen, and I do like the way that he's talked about really going into that detective side of things, having a strong point of view from Bruce Wayne, dealing with some of his personal emotions, but also trying to, from his perspective, figure out this mystery. I think that'd be really cool, a nice take on the character. Probably that's the one that I would really like to see, soon after Aquaman. But then I would put Gotham City Sirens right together with that, because similarly, I think that the characters from Suicide Squad and the setting of Gotham, I think, could be really good, and that David Ayer might be able to show a little bit better, outcome than he did on the first Suicide Squad movie. So for me, that would be great to get the Batman and Gotham City Sirens in the same year or within 4 or 6 months of each other. Would be I think a really cool way to just keep the momentum going. Now you mentioned the Flash, so the Flash, I think, like you said, I think he might have a lot of momentum coming out of Justice League, as will Aquaman. Aquaman already has a place to take that momentum, right, to his solo film. But if the Flash also gets some momentum of, people really liking the characterization from Ezra Miller, and from that set visit where a lot of the bloggers and reporters went to see Justice League being filmed, several of them said that the Flash is really impressive and that they think that fans are really going to respond to the Flash. So that's the other one where I hope that one, I hope that one gets going here, in 2017, so that it can be in 2018, fully produced, and then come out very soon after that, maybe early 2019, something like that.
That would be cool.
Batgirl, I'll be interested to see how that turns out, and it could be very cool, but that one, to me, has not risen to the level of excitement as these other ones that we just mentioned are.
Well, it depends, for me, what they do with it, because story-wise, Joss Whedon can pull on a lot of different, aspects from the Batgirl kind of mythos, depending if they're going to go on this new take or the classic Barbara Gordon take and tie in stuff directly with Batman and Commissioner Gordon. I like that aspect a lot.
Yeah.
Plus, I do like Whedon's work that he's done. I'm not the hugest Buffy fan, but it's very powerful for a female character. I did like his X-Men work that he did with Kitty Pryde and stuff like that, and I definitely loved his Avengers stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with the character.
Yeah, I think it could be cool. I have a little bit of a concern if there's like Gotham, and Gotham, like 3 movies out of 4 it could all possibly be based in Gotham, and I don't want this to be like the Gotham universe. I want it to be the DCEU. So that's my only concern about it. And yeah, I agree with you. Like it might turn out really cool. He might have a really good take on it. And Joss Whedon, he specifically requested that one when he saw all these different characters on the board. So he might have a really cool idea that he wants to take forward with it. But just not quite there as much as I am for the other ones that we talked about.
Yeah, and just as an aside, too, being a huge Batman fan, I'd really like to see Robin done well in the Batman universe, maybe possibly before Batgirl. So I'm hoping we get something to do with the Robin character, like the mythos in the Batman movie. That would be really cool.
Yeah, good point. All right, let's look beyond those ones, which are in some form of like development, and it seemed like they're definitely happening. But beyond that, I'm pretty positive we're going to get a Wonder Woman 2, and I think Patty Jenkins is probably going to be back to direct it. I think they're just probably ironing out their contracts and stuff. But Wonder Woman 2, Man of Steel 2 is happening. I think somebody's writing the script on that. There's a Justice League Dark that does not have Lehman directing it anymore, but it still has some ideas floating around Warner Brothers. Then there's Cyborg, Green Lanterns, and there's still this Black Adam or Shazam kind of movie with The Rock. And The Rock has been patiently waiting for this to kind of move forward on the docket, but that one's out there as well. So what catches your attention out of that list?
Well, Shazam being the farthest away, I would love to see it happen because they keep teasing that you're going to see Superman fight Shazam or Black Adam. That'd
right.
be really cool. But they got to get like a good take on the character. Like we said before, it's got to be like big meets superheroes. Mark Miller did a series called Superior that's kind of touched on that, but it was obviously much more adult themed. So they have to find really what they're going to do with it and just go with it because it's got the potential to be really original for superheroes and for DC as well. Mm-hmm. As far as Man of Steel 2 and Wonder Woman 2, Wonder Woman was amazing, so I expect nothing better, better than that for the second one. Man of Steel 2's got the potential to do a lot more than we've seen in Batman, Superman, and also the first Superman. We could have Superman going back into space. We could have Superman really touching on something to do more in Metropolis, kind of dig into his own mythos. I'm really looking forward to that because I really like Cavill's take on Superman, and I did watch Batman versus Superman again recently, and I got to say the second or third time around I enjoyed it a lot more, and I really liked the scenes with Clark and Lois, so I'd like to see more of that. And then the other ones that we mentioned there, sorry, I just drawing a blank for a second.
Cyborg, Green Lanterns, yeah. Yeah,
so Cyborg, as I said before, it's got a lot of potential because of the digital age we're in, but I don't know if he's a strong enough character to carry an entire movie. I think he'd work much better to me as a team-up, maybe with The Flash or other characters. But we'll see. Apparently the actor's, doing a good job on the Justice League. Now, as far as Green Lanterns go, doing Green Lantern Corps, they're going to be very wary of it because of the performance of the Ryan Reynolds movie. But it's got potential to be really cool as well, kind of like a Star Wars, meets DC Comics kind of vibe. And I hope they do something really good with it.
Yeah, so I echo a lot of what you're saying. Ray Fisher seems really excited by his character, so I look forward to seeing him in Justice League. But for that one, I'm not quite as excited for it yet. I just want to kind of see, it's more of unproven ground, whereas Man of Steel, Wonder Woman are proven ground. Like, for me, I loved both of those origin movies. So I just, those ones are like, I want to just see more with that character and where they could take it. The one that really intrigues me a lot, though, is the Shazam Black Adam, specifically the Shazam side, because I just love this idea of really tapping into more of a younger audience. Like right now, Spider-Man Homecoming is going to be coming out, and I mean, one of the things that's genius about that is that you can actually really get adolescents to kind of connect with and resonate with the character, and I think that's great. And I think with Shazam, you can do that even with, people younger than their teens. Like pre-teens could watch Shazam and be like, wow, that's amazing. And I've seen that with my own kids, like cartoons that have Shazam, or just even seeing a picture of him. They're like immediately drawn to like, wait a minute, that's like a kid. And then he gets to like be this superhero. And as long as the DCEU continues to allow different tones, then it could really work. And they could say, like, okay, this one is going to be more family friendly, and it's going to be a little bit lighter because it's Shazam. So that's what we're going to do, and we're going to try to really get kids excited. Meanwhile, you can have like the Batman and Gotham City Sirens can be like more hard-edged, darker in Gotham City. So
totally.
For me, I think that could be really cool to just make one that is like for parents to bring their kids, kind of like Wonder Woman even was. I saw a lot of parents bringing their kids to Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and with Shazam, they've got a lot of artists and writers that have worked on it that come from that vibe of it. Like the Alex Ross Shazam stuff, he talks about that all the time. Like, that's such a cool, different thing. At one point, Shazam was outselling Superman when he was huge. And they had guys like Jeff Smith, who worked on Bone, that did a Shazam series that did quite well, really playing out that aspect of that it is a lighter tone, it is more adventurous. And also, not to mention, Shazam has an amazing origin. Like, it's totally original, and this kid, like, stumbling upon the old gods and, like, all this stuff. It's very cool. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to do the talking tiger and all this kind of stuff, but really, they could pull it off, and I hope they do.
And I hope they do kind of like the foster family sort of side of it too, right? Because that's a way for maybe kids that come from tougher backgrounds that, some stuff seems idealized in movies. Like this one could maybe be like, wow, this kid has kind of a rough upbringing, or he moves around, or he never quite feels like he has his family. But then, wow, look at this, he does find a family, he does find these powers, and that just could be a cool story for, I think, a new whole audience. So that one just to me seems like there's so much potential to kind of open the doors to new people to get into this universe that I'm really excited about that one. Like Wonder Woman, I think opened a lot of new doors. Like the audience opening weekend was actually majority women, which has never happened before in a comic book movie. And I think Shazam, you could open the door even to some new faces. So that one just really excites me. But the other one's as good as well. Justice League Dark, just for me personally, doesn't grab me as much. But Green Lanterns, I do think there's a better Green Lantern story that could be told, and so I look forward to that one, kind of reclaiming the mantle of Green Lanterns for the cinema.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. And Justice League Dark, I mean, to me, they've kind of got to establish these characters in the universe, maybe through cameos or something first, like maybe Constantine or Zatanna or even Swamp Thing or something like that, because they're really good characters. But I think if you just threw them in a movie and people didn't know who they were, they might get a little bit lost.
Yeah. I think that it'd be nice to find some places to tease them, and then you could go to their solo movie after that. Like, I do think Superman and Shazam are two good characters to put together, because Superman could be like a mentor for Shazam. And Superman, Clark, coming from like rural country and being just kind of genuinely good heart, good souled person, I think would be a good character to kind of take Shazam under his cape, so to speak.
Yeah, totally. That'd be an interesting way to see it.
All right, so that's just scratching the surface. A lot to come from DCEU in the future. Comic-Con is coming up in a few weeks, and I'm guessing that we're going to get maybe some dates or some updates. Like they might announce some directors, like on The Flash. People are talking about our Lord and Miller going to maybe come back to The Flash now that they're off on Solo. Or I think we're going to get some new information. Probably the most likely thing is that we'll get some dates for 2019 and 2020 so that we know exactly when some of these are happening.
Yeah, it sounds good. It should be exciting. We'll have lots to talk about soon.
All right, great.